Welcome back. I'm Tedward, and today I'm very excited to say that thanks to Bond Group, we are driving the 1989 Lamborghini Countach. This is a 25th anniversary car. They produced it between 1989 and 1990, and this is the last iteration of the iconic Italian supercar, the car that pretty much redefined the supercar. Although the Miura was still very stately and exciting to look at, the Countach rocked the world. It certainly rocked my world because I was born in the late 80s, and as a late 80s kid, a 90s kid, I had a Countach on my wall. I had a Countach and a Testarossa. Those were the two big hero cars. The Countach went through a lot of iterations, and in the end, Horacio Pagani took some liberties on this Bertone design and started going wild. So they add these big strakes on the airboxes and some details here and there. We don't have to go through all of them, but when you look at this car, these ones almost look a little more Lego built, but I'm told they're more aerodynamic. Something that's also incredible about these cars are these phone dial wheels. The OZ Racing wheels with the rivets are incredibly gorgeous. And in the rear, we have a 345 section tire. I'm getting a little ahead of myself how I do my normal reviews, but I'm quite excited to drive this and take you along for the ride. Now, in the old days, the first Countach that came out, I believe 1974, even though it was displayed in 1971 to the world, definitely did not have a 345 section tire. I think it had like a 215 or a 225 in the rear. And in today's world, a 345 section tire goes on like a Corvette E-Ray, and that has a lot of torque. This certainly does not have quite as much torque, but it is definitely nice to have some extra grip, because I can imagine that tire technology in the 80s, maybe things were a little scarier. And when you have a big, heavy 5.2 liter naturally aspirated V12 making 455 horsepower, yeah, you're going to want a little extra stability. Now, when you're in the back, everything is just exactly how you imagine it from the pictures. That's the coolest part about this car, is that nothing about it lets you down. It's all crazy. You can't stop staring at it, and it's fun. There's very little visibility out of this vehicle, and if you can't tell from the outside, you'll definitely know when we go for a drive, because there's basically zero rear quarter visibility when you're driving. We're gonna have to rely on these mirrors, and they're not ideal. Like, this is not my favorite mirror, and you just kind of have to move them around and try to put them in a certain spot, but we'll do our best to be safe out here. You may notice this one does not have the wing, nor does it have US impact bumpers. That's because I think this car spent quite a bit of its life in Japan, and one of the coolest things about this one is that it's carbureted. There are 6 carburetors on this V12. It does not have the Bosch fuel injection, which I think actually makes it a more rare and powerful power plant. Up front, you can start to see how they were getting very close to moving toward the Diablo. I think this front bumper, especially with these little fog lights, that little valence right there, all I'm seeing here is Diablo. It's kind of wild that there's so much design language in the 25th anniversary car that shows you what the future might be. But when you stand over it, the wedge shape is bonkers. This is just the craziest grouping of shapes you can imagine. When you see it on paper, maybe it looks wild. I can't imagine what it looked like when they first built one and said, yeah, that's the thing. Look at the shape of this windshield. Everything's like trapezoidal. This giant windscreen wiper is fantastically cool. You actually have 2 wipers on this arm, but if you notice, you have both wash nozzles right down here, so you don't have one on each side. They kind of kept everything collected in one little spot. And there's very little creature comforts in the older ones. The 25th anniversary cars give you air conditioning. They have power windows, which only lower this about this far, and they have power seats. You've got a radio and some other things. So I suppose as far as Countaches go, these are the most drivable. These are the most usable and ergonomic cars, yet they are still not. So let's open up some things. First of all, big old NACA duct right here. We love that. That is very Italian, very race car. And then let's open this. You can hear the big piston helping us assist this scissor door up, and the piston is actually inside the door. And let's see. Inside, you have a very low slung interior. I mean, look at the distance between dashboard and windshield. It's not very far, so you're kind of looking through the glass almost through the little end. It's very strange, but the seats, oddly enough, nothing really to write home about. If I showed you these seats outside of the Countach, I genuinely don't think you'd be able to place them. They don't look Lamborghini, they don't look wacky or wild, and yeah, they're fine, but you control them right here. Yes, the seat controls are here. They are electronic, and we have a dogleg 5-speed manual to play with. So first, let's take a look in the back. We'll open the trunk and this hatch. So come around this side, because this side is where that the hood strut is. Open this up, and very lightweight stuff, but there's our power plant. You see a big AC unit tacked onto there. Very interesting, but there you have our 6 carbs fueling these big old cylinders with a monster single distributor on the left side of the vehicle. Pretty darn cool. And to keep it cool, you've got these giant radiators on that side and that side with twin or single electric fans on each one. But that gives you an idea that these are really designed to help keep the car cool, because apparently in the old days with the LP400, the first Countach, those were hard to keep cool, and you can imagine a mid-engine supercar that is probably taking a lot of its design for the sake of beauty rather than purpose necessarily. It'll do that. Back here we do have a trunk, yes, and we're gonna have a leather pillow that's gonna help me sit up a little further, because honestly, I can't get close enough to the pedals and the steering wheel. I do actually need that. And then around front, ooh, did I do this already? We'll find out. Nope, I did not. Under here, we open up our frunk, and nothing to note for storage, but you do have a spare tire, a battery, your brake fluid reservoir, and some other things. But very handy dandy, and man, oh man, I'm very excited to take you guys out for a ride. So let's make this about driving. If you want to go do some historical research and really get down and dirty with it, you can do so. So let's close it up, get a plate on it, get my pillow in place, and take it for a drive. Getting into the Countach, you don't always look super cool. I try to go butt first and then get my feet in without dragging them on leather dashboard components. Now, I have my pillow, I'm a happy guy. I'm sat a little closer to the steering wheel because this is pretty much as close as I can get. Here we have an array of keys. We'll put our key in, it is directional. That in a neutral. We do have a reverse lockout, which allows us to make sure that we don't accidentally go into reverse instead of first. Very clever. Got our fuel pump. We can hear the fans. Now, this engine's actually seemingly happier on a very cold start versus a hot start. So I've been out here doing photography for a little while, so it is a little warmer than it was earlier. And earlier, it seemed to just start immediately, but sometimes, engines are a little temperamental, but still very, very happy. It has a great little Italian horn. Yes. Handbrake on the right-hand side. Put our seatbelt on. Interestingly enough, the seatbelt comes over from the left, which wouldn't be interesting to you unless you've driven in Murcielago and Aventador, which I believe those are both center mounted, and this one is on the left. So strange, I suppose. I thought that was a heritage thing. I was unaware. Pedal box, very close together. I know that like Matt and Doug are pretty much unable to drive this car with shoes. I am, because I'm only about 5'9" or 5'10". A little difficult with my hat camera. Now we have been driving this car around a little bit, like typical Italian car fashion. The oil temp is just it's seemingly not coming up. I mean, this has definitely been running, it's definitely been driven, so that's either, you know, a little wonky or it's not gonna give us anything until it's at like full boot. She ain't slow. The gearbox is a little tricky. Let's hope no one pulls out on us. We're good. Okay. The gearbox is interesting because, like, you've got to be a little patient with it. You grab it by the scruff. It doesn't feel delicate, but it does feel needy. It wants to be right at the right RPM for that downshift. Looks like I'm in a very awkward seating position. It's because I am. Yeah, that's it. It's very strange. I wouldn't say uncomfortable, and yes, you can get used to it, but it's weird. The thing about driving this car in public too is just like you kind of feel like you're making everybody's day, you know? I'm not trying to be egotistical here, but I know that if I saw one on the road, I'd be pretty impressed. I'd be happy to have seen a Countach. Is that a dually Chevy van? That's a rare bird. That's cool. Pete! That's Pete! That's Team Champagne Ninjas. They made very few of those. Why am I talking about Chevy vans right now? It's just a rare van, you know? You don't see dually Chevy vans. Cool. That's cool. Oh my goodness. It likes wide open throttle. There's some rattles to be expected. Out the front though, visibility is really nice because I've got a nice low hood. I don't see anything crazy, but it's just out the back. I mean, there's nothing out that rear quarter. It's a little stressful. The 25th anniversary cars, they almost look like kit cars. They have so much extra stuff that Horatio Pagani put onto the car. And I have a feeling that some people are looking at it saying, wow, a Countach, and some people are looking at it saying, wow, is that actually a Countach? Unsurprisingly, everyone that drives by looks, and a lot of people slow down to look. That makes a lot of sense. You just hope people drive safely and they don't try to do anything crazy around the car. I think I am going to try to adjust that mirror one more time at this gas station. There's our indicator light down here. Man, I feel like I'm learning so much. I've like never really spent any time with one of these before. We'll go in here real quick. We'll try to play with this mirror for a second. Okay, that's so much better. I can see something now. Okay, now the other trick is I want to go out that way and we got to back up. So the best way to back up a Countach is like this. Well, first pop in. We'll get it in to reverse, and then we can pop out and we can reverse it from outside the car, because otherwise you can't see anything, and this makes it so much easier. Ugh. Yeah, definitely no power steering here. Don't know why I was questioning myself on that. little cold, it's a little wet. We don't want to spin a Countach. That's the lesson. Don't want to do is get pulled over on a back road in this car, because you might get an officer who's not a car person and they might not get it. Obviously, I'm not going to go driving this like alarmingly fast down any roads, but it's hard not to put your foot in it a little bit. It likes to be kind of open or nothing. That partial throttle is not its favorite thing. And plus, there's our little pop-up headlights. We don't want to have anybody back into the car. This feels like the best Christmas gift ever. It's after Christmas by a couple days, but Santa gave me a Countach to drive. Little shuffle steer action. Nice and slow. I can't see anything over this crest. That's like a first. I think I'm lower than I've ever been in any car before. This has got to be the coolest thing to watch come down the street. All right, check like 5 times. The tach seems to be disconnecting under full throttle, so it's like when I'm looking for where am I to know when to shift, it's falling away. So just being on the conservative side here. gotta give it a bootful. I feel like I'm coming up short on the revs. You gotta just stab it. No shyness on the throttle. Well guys, I hope that this was like as cool for you as it was for me. Meet your heroes. The Countach rules. Yeah, a little cumbersome, a little weird to drive, but excellent. This is so much fun. I feel like I'm in supercar heaven right now. A supercar should be a little cumbersome and weird and heighten the senses and awareness of what you're doing. And it has pop-up headlights. What more do you want? V12, mid-engine, pop-up headlights, scissor doors. Let's go. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Thanks to Bond Group for this incredible opportunity to really cap off 2023 for me. It's been a good year, but now we've got a Countach in the books. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one. There's pretty much 100% chance that Valentino Balboni once drove this car to test it out at the Lamborghini factory, as he did for many years. And I had the privilege of driving with him in an SVJ Zago a couple years ago for like 3 hours, which was really wild. So go watch that video. Interviewed him about Countach. Oh boy, please Tesla, don't go head on with my wedge. That's not good. Oh, home sweet home. We've done it. We've done the Countach. Oh my goodness. All right, I can't get out of this seatbelt. Holy cow. Oh my goodness. All right, to get out, you've got a handle under here, and it's just this guy right here. It's mad that my lights are on. And then I need to go get my garage door opener.